Eddie, good morning. We've seen that Alexander Isak has been here at the club, though as we speak nothing's been announced. What are you able to say about that transfer?
Yeah, it's not completed. We hope to get it done.
In time for Wolves?
Yeah, fingers crossed. There's no guarantee with these things because we're in other people's hands, but yeah, hopefully.
And in general terms, you've made a move in the transfer market this week for him. How much of that is in response to the situation with Callum Wilson and him going off against Manchester City with a hamstring issue?
Yeah, naturally with Callum's injury, which we don't believe to be serious, by the way, we're hopeful that Callum will only be out for a couple of weeks. But naturally, I think we reacted slightly off of that in terms of we were always looking for an attacking player, but it changed our focus maybe slightly on the type. But we're delighted to hopefully sign Alex, who will be a big player for us.
And after this deal hopefully goes through, will you still be looking to add at least one more player to the squad, and will the funds be available to do that?
That is a difficult question to currently answer. I think naturally from my perspective, yes, but there's no guarantee. I'd need to sit down with the club and have those discussions.
Just going back to Callum Wilson, you'll know better than anybody just how good he is and how good he's been when he's been fit, but injuries have probably made his Newcastle career quite stop-start. Is it becoming a major concern for you, the fact that he is picking up problems, injuries with a bit of regularity again?
I back Callum 100%. Known him for a long time. I've never met someone with a better attitude to sport and a better professional. He's hugely disappointed to miss any game, but I back him and his body. He's got such an important part of our future this season. I think he's already shown that with the goals that he scored. I mean, the two goals he scored have been of the highest level, so I don't doubt Callum for a second.
After the exertions of last Sunday against Manchester City, how important was it to give many of the players who got through so much work in that game a bit of a rest in midweek and the night off against Tranmere? Yeah,
well, not all of them had the night off. We wanted to go there united. We wanted to go to Tranmere together, so everyone that was fit came with us. I thought it was really important that we showed respect to the competition. We wanted to progress, but we also wanted to give players, as you say, one, a slight rest, and two, the others an opportunity to show how good they are. And what was a very difficult game, I have to say, Tranmere played very well and put us under pressure and put us under pressure in a different way to the Premier League, with the type of game that it was. But the players stood up to that test very, very well. The attitude was first class, and we came through a tough game.
Aside from Callum Wilson, what's the injury situation ahead of the weekend?
Yeah, we've got to worry over Emil Kraft, so we don't know what the detail of that injury is currently. He will be going for a scan today, I think. Currently it doesn't look too good, so that's a real shame for Emil and for us, but until we get the scan results, we don't know.
And just one on Wolves, who have made a few big signings this summer but are yet to win. Looks like maybe they're playing slightly differently now. What do you make of their season so far and the task that you'll face?
Very early to draw too many conclusions from anything really at this stage, but Wolves are an outstanding team. I think they've signed very well, recruited very well. I think you look at the quality of the players they have in midfield. Three or four very good technicians in there. They've got some very good attacking players, so we don't underestimate them at all. And Bruno's done a great job there. Now I think they're a little bit more fluid. They play different systems, so I think they're a dangerous team.
Thank you. Keith?
Eddie, what does potentially breaking the club transfer record say about the ambitions of the club?
It's a difficult one for me to answer at this moment in time, Keith, because I want to say again the transfer isn't complete. So if you don't mind, I'd rather answer that one another time.
If and when it does get done, are you hoping that he trains, whether it's today or tomorrow before the game?
Yeah, we're hopeful. He'd probably need to train with us in the next 2 days to be available really to play. Need to see how he is physically after his game last week. So we're very keen to see him and get him involved as quickly as possible.
And I think you touched on it earlier, but in terms of adding further players beyond that, you say you've still got to have those conversations, but would you ideally like to still add in attack should you get Isaac over the line?
As I say, from my perspective, yes, I'd like to try and push as much as we can to improve the squad, but I'm also aware that we have to be very careful in terms of finances and things like that. So that'll be discussions I'll have with the club, and we'll wait and see where we go with that.
There's been a few reports this week that Martin Dubravik is in talks with Manchester United. Is he one that could potentially leave, and are those stories accurate?
I don't think he's in talks with Manchester United. There has been contact between the clubs, but that'll be something that will continue probably to happen, as in the discussions. But in terms of an actual final outcome, I'm very reluctant to lose any of important players to the group. So that's a decision that will be out of my hands, really.
And you touched on Callum Wilson earlier. How is he since the prognosis earlier on in the week about the hamstring?
Callum's a very positive guy. He doesn't dwell on negative emotions. I think he's very positive. He's already looking forward to returning and getting back in amongst the training and amongst the players. So no, he's fine. Obviously a slight initial disappointment, but now he's focused on his recovery.
Thanks, Eddie. Cheers.
Thank you.
Morning, Eddie. We've seen the team, I suppose, draw beautifully on Sunday and then win ugly on Wednesday. As a manager, which are you more satisfied with?
Ooh. No, I want to win. So I'll take winning ugly, as long as that comes with the side that we prepare to, I don't want to say win beautifully, but win well. We're always focused on our performances and the process of playing well to try and give you a better chance of winning games. But the whole part of what we're doing, the whole reason we're in this business is to win football matches. So that is always the first aim, and then it's how you win becomes very important to us as well.
I know we're speaking hypothetically because the transfer is not yet completed, but with Alexander Isak, I know you've talked before about looking at the personality, the character of players before you sign. What is it about his personality and character that's attracted Newcastle United to him, and what makes you think that he's a good fit for Newcastle United?
That's an interesting question. I think he's had a lot thrown at him for a young player. I mean, the experiences that he's had have been incredible, really, for someone so young. So he's played in Germany at a very young age, Holland, Spain, at big clubs as well. So he's had some great experiences. I think England and the English game will suit his profile. He's a really, really good athlete, technically very good. So I think he's got a whole host of things going for him. And as I say, his best years, I think, are still ahead of him. So if the transfer does get concluded, I think we've got an exciting player.
I was in the city when the news broke the other day, and you can understand and you can imagine, I'm sure, that the furore around it amongst the supporters. Can you kind of understand the huge amount of excitement around this potential signing amongst the supporters?
I think I can understand. I'm excited about trying to bring good players to Newcastle. So if we can conclude the transfer, I'll be excited too.
Just on Alan Saint-Maximin, it's the $1 million question, of course. We've all talked about his consistency, about developing that consistency. For you as manager, away from the pitch, how do you do it? How do you bring the consistency out of him? Is it a case of sitting down with him one-to-one? Is it a case of mentality processes? How do you approach it?
I think with any player, I think the responsibility lies with him first and foremost. I think Alan's performance last week was down to him, no one else. I thought he was excellent in every aspect of his game. I think the consistency aspect has to come from how he lives his life, how he prepares for training, how he prepares for the next game. And I think if you're consistent with your actions during the week, you'll be consistent in your performance. So we need to help him with that, obviously, and we are, and we will continue to do so. So we're trying to give him the right support, the right framework, the right team around him to show his skills on a weekly basis.
You had one captain on Sunday who scored and then had an impact on Wednesday. You had another captain on Wednesday that scores and takes a blow to the chops but continues regardless. How beneficial is it to have two captains like Kieran Trippier and Jamal Lascelles in this squad, in that dressing room?
Yeah, they've had an eventful week. I didn't really look at it that way, but both players led by example in both games, and I think that's crucial. I don't think any team succeeds or has sustained success with just one leader in the group. It's impossible for one person to execute that on a daily basis. You need a team of leaders, and from me down to my coaching staff, then looking at through the squad, you need 6-7 people that really discreetly lead in different ways. I think we have that within the squad. I think we've got a great group of experienced players that are setting the example on a daily basis.
Just on Wolves, come Sunday, approximately 4 o'clock or so, what would you want to be saying to us, the media, in terms of the performance and in terms of the result from a Newcastle United perspective?
Well, I think we want to build on the 3 games that we've had. I think in different ways in each game we've had some really good aspects of our performance. We want to try and get that all put together for a complete performance and result that goes with it. But I think as long as the players empty out on the pitch and give everything they can, then I'll always take that as a starting point.
And just finally from me, there was a big furore of social media yesterday. I think Sam Fender and Alan Shearer both down at St James's Park. I know you're into your music. Is that a conversation you'd like to be a part of at some point?
Was Alan part of a band, was he? I'd like to see that.
Unconfirmed.
Yeah, no, I'd like to have... I don't know what that was about. I didn't know that was happening, but certainly respect Sam and a lot, and obviously Alan. Not so much for his music, but certainly respect him.
Top man, thanks.
Thank you.
Morning, Eddie. After the Tranmere game, Jamal Lascelles said that winning a trophy felt like a more realistic prospect under your management. Does it feel like a realistic prospect for you, bearing in mind that how far the club's come, the recruitment, players you already have and who you might be about to get?
I think it's a target for us. I'm not saying any more than that really at this stage. It's so early in the competition. We've got through a very difficult second round game, and now we have a very difficult fixture ahead of us, but that's some way ahead in the distance. At the moment we have a very compact Premier League schedule ahead of us, so I think our focus now goes to that. But it'll be really nice to then look to the next round when it comes around.
And just finally from me, will part of you be relieved when this transfer window closes? Because it's a lot of extra work. It's having your phone next to you presumably constantly. Will you be quite relieved to see it close?
Absolutely will. Yes, it seems like it's been the longest window. Well, I think it probably has been the longest window. I think when I'm preparing for games, my focus is always on the game and making sure the players are as well prepared as they can be. But naturally, the transfer window takes a lot of your energy, a lot of your time away from the core part of the job, which I think is the most important. So it'll be great when that distraction is gone. But also it's such an important part because you have to get this transfer window as good as it can be, because ultimately your success depends on it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Back to broadcasters, Damien Spellman.
Eddie, firstly, can I just clarify on Dan Burn, Jamal, Ryan Fraser, if they're available, and what Emil's injury is?
Yeah, we hope Dan will be available, Ryan will be available. Was there anyone else you mentioned there?
Jamal.
Lascelles?
Yeah.
Yeah, he should be fine.
And what was Emil's injury?
It's a knee problem. Until the scan, it's very difficult for me to comment on what that knee injury is because we don't know.
Right, smashing. And just on Callum, as you say, you know him very well. Does there come a point where you have to manage his workload, or is he just being unlucky with this succession of injuries?
We're trying to manage his workload as all the players. We treat the players very much on an individual basis. We don't treat the group as one and ask them to do the same things. It's very much the way the game's gone in recent years is bespoke training plans. Treat every player as the individual they are. So they're on different schedules throughout the week. We've tried everything we can to look after all our players and keep them as fit and as healthy as possible. But naturally, I think during a very tough season with the training schedules that they have, there will be times when every player picks up an injury. It's just making sure that injury is minimised and we get them back on the pitch as soon as possible.
Clearly, Humboldt is like to replace Callum because he's such a big admirer of him. Do you see the two of them playing together as a partnership, flourishing, and can he be the making almost of Callum?
Yeah, I see them playing together. I think they're very different players. So if the transfer is completed, I think that is something I can definitely envisage. Alex is a very, very different player to Callum and vice versa, but they both got unique strengths.
Jordan?
Just on Martin Dubravik and the Manchester United approach, is there a risk of the player being distracted by that talk, and with that will he be in the squad? Do you expect him for him to be in the squad on Sunday?
Certainly at the moment, no, Martin's not been distracted. He's trained very well. The good professional that he is, he's been perfect in his attitude and mentality. So I don't see why that would change.
Gary?
Eddie, did you get a chance to speak to Alex along the way to convince him to come, or was a personal pitch required?
I'd probably like to pass on that one until. I know I've answered a little bit, but I don't want to go too deep, if you don't mind.
And maybe it seems last month the deal wasn't maybe possible. Is there anything in particular that's changed, maybe that made it more likely now that it being so close, maybe last month it wasn't possible?
I think always when you're trying to do transfers, there's two things: the selling club and the buying club, and they've got to meet. And unless they meet, the transfer won't get done. So, thankfully now, things seem to have come together for us.
Okay. Luke?
I probably don't need to actually, because when Kieran's come back,
Martin.
just do something. Is there a player you would compare Alex to, and what will he add to the team?
Within our current squad, or
No, just in English football.
you might need to give me a bit more time on that one. I'm not sure if I can think of someone. I think every player is different and unique in their ability. He certainly has some qualities that I think will be very evident when you see him play. But he's got the mix of qualities that I really like in a forward player.
And what will he add to the team?
I think he'll add those qualities that he has: pace, technical ability, dribbling ability. He's got a bit of X factor about him. He's slightly different, and I think he's capable of scoring goals.
Okay. Louise Taylor?
When did you first see Alex? I mean, how long has he been on your wish list?
I don't know the exact date, to be honest, but I think the first time I saw him play was for Sweden many years ago, and I immediately was hugely impressed. I think it was I won't test myself and trying to remember the game, but it was definitely for Sweden, and yeah, he instantly caught my eye.
Okay. Chris Wolf?
Hi Eddie, how's John Joe Shelby's recovery going? Is he on track to be alright?
Yeah, he's doing well. Pleased with his progress. He's, John Joe is absolutely determined to come back as quickly as possible, which is great for us. So he's pushing himself within the safe boundaries we've given him. But yeah, he's naturally very keen to return. Football's John Joe's life, and training is his life, so he's missing it.
Could you still potentially add a midfielder before next week?
I don't know if we can add any player, yet alone sort of nailing down the position. So as I say, I need to have if this transfer goes through, I need to sit down and have a chat and see what we can do next.
Okay. Lee Ryder?
Eddie, with obviously a lot of money being spent, does your ambitions change with what you can achieve from the season? Obviously it was top 10 would have been where you were looking at, but does that move up a little bit now?
I think no. My hopes for the season don't change on one signing. My hopes for the season are there, regardless of this signing or not, because I believe in the squad that we have. I've never mentioned any numbers, Lee. I've always stayed away from that. So my aim is to improve the team in every aspect, and we're trying to do that.
And I think the good thing is supporters, seeing you and your staff went over after the Tranmere game, and you do most games, but there just seemed to be a good connection between everybody there. Really
good connection, and I think we were very thankful for the support we had to travel that distance in those numbers on a Wednesday night. Was incredible. The noise that the supporters made, even when we were losing at that moment, they really helped us get back into the game. So again, a huge thanks from us to them.